Once when King Vikramaditya returned home from hunting and was very thirsty, he became disturbed seeing the condition of the palace courtyard. One child had defecated and another had a runny nose. Seeing all this, he said to his sister-in-law, "Don't you have even a little manners? This looks more like an animal enclosure than a palace courtyard. One child has defecated and another snake is deaf. How can one eat food after seeing all this?" Then his sister-in-law taunted him and said, "I will see you too. Which queen of bold will you marry and bring?" He said to his sister-in-law in anger, "Now I will marry Queen Abold and bring her here." Saying this, Vikramaditya turned back without eating anything, and started walking towards Queen Abold's kingdom. Vikramaditya was well aware of the fact that Rani Abold was more beautiful, witty and endowed with all virtues than the Apsaras. The greatest kings, maharajas, and even the emperors wanted to marry her, but Rani Abold's condition was that she would marry only that person who would break her silence and call her 4 times in the 4 hours of the night. Any king or prince who was unable to do so would be punished by being imprisoned by the queen. Till now no king or prince could call the queen even once, let alone 4 times. 111 kings and princes had made unsuccessful attempts to call the queen, who were now imprisoned by her. Rani Abold had kept a big drum in front of her palace. Any king or prince who was interested in marrying the queen had to start the ceremony by beating that drum with a stick. King Vikramaditya made a plan while on his way. He had 4 invisible warriors who obeyed his every order. The doll player should be taken to the guest house with respect and should be given a proper welcome. Before the first quarter of the night, Queen Abold sat on her bed in her palace after getting ready for the first part of the night, and ordered the servants to bring King Vikramaditya in front of her. King Vikramaditya came to Queen Abold's palace on the request of the servants, and according to his plan, he made his 6 invisible warriors sit in different places in a very comfortable manner. One was seated near the queen's bed, the second near the queen's monastery, the third near the queen's window, and the 4th near the queen's necklace. And he himself sat on a wooden chair in front of the queen. He tried to talk to the queen, but Queen Abold did not give any answer. She sat in front of him as if she was a stone statue. Then King Vikramaditya, looking at the queen's bed, said, "O brother, the queen's bed, the queen will not speak. Now you tell me something to pass the night." Hearing the king's words, his warrior sitting on the queen's bed said, "Maharaj, I do not have enough brains to tell you something. Yes, if you tell me something, I will definitely roar." King Vikramaditya said, "Okay, then listen." A king's son became friends with a merchant's son. They started living together from childhood. They studied together, played together. Their friendship became so strong that they could not live without each other. Time passed and both grew up. One day, the merchant's father said to his son, "Son, now you have grown up." The merchant's son said, "Father, I want to take my friend Prince Jiraj with me. We have promised each other that we will not go anywhere without each other." The merchant said, "Son, I have no problem, but keep in mind that the prince's hospitality in your in-laws' house should be according to his reputation." The merchant's son Chandrapal took a leave from his father and left for his in-laws' house with the prince. But in his mind, he was worried about what his father had said. If the prince's hospitality was not according to his reputation, he might feel bad. There was a temple of a goddess on the way. It was believed that whoever asked for anything there, his wish would be fulfilled. When the merchant and the prince reached the temple, they also went to the temple to have darshan of the goddess. Chandrapal prayed to the goddess with folded hands in his mind. "O goddess, nothing is more important to me than my friend. If his hospitality in my in-laws' house is as per his status, then while returning I will offer you my head." Both of them started, and after traveling for some time, they reached the in-laws' house of Chandrapal, i.e. the merchant's son. Chandrapal's father-in-law was a very well-known moneylender of his city. He had no shortage of anything. He took good care of his son-in-law and his friend and did not let them go for 15 days. And he welcomed them with great respect, which impressed Chandrapal and the prince a lot. On the 16th day, on Chandrapal's insistence, he sent him off with his daughter with great respect. On the way, the prince praised his friend's in-laws a lot in front of his friend. When they reached the temple of the goddess while walking, the merchant's son asked his wife and friend to wait for a while and went inside the temple. And as per his promise, he cut off his head and offered it at the feet of the goddess. When he did not come for a long time, Prince Jaraj went to the temple to see him. Seeing his cut head, the ground slipped from under his feet. He thought that if his friend is not alive, then what will I do by living? He also cut off his head. On the other hand, when the newly married Chandrakala got tired of waiting for a long time, she also went inside the temple fearing something untoward. When she saw the scene there, she lost her senses. The atmosphere shook with her loud scream. Crying, she said in front of the goddess, "Oh mother, what is this tragedy? What will I do without my husband when I go to my in-laws' house? Everyone will blame me, calling me unlucky. Now there is no point in my life." As soon as she raised the sword, Goddess Ma appeared and holding her hand stopped her from doing so. Then Chandrakala said, "O goddess, you have already sacrificed my husband and his friend. You did not stop these two from sacrificing themselves, so why are you stopping me now? Sacrifice me too. And anyway, what will I do by living without my husband?" Devi Ma said, "I am very impressed by your husband's devotion, Prince Jaraj's friendship and your loyalty and love for your husband. That is why I want to give life to both your husband and the prince. You do this, place the heads of both of them on their bodies as if they are alive. I will revive them." Chandrakala quickly picked up the heads of both of them and placed them on their bodies. Goddess Ma raised her hand and released a ray of divine light and both of them became alive. After bringing them alive, Goddess Ma disappeared. But in haste, Chandrakala made a mistake. She placed her husband's head on the prince's body, and the prince's head on her husband's body. King Vikramaditya said to the queen's bed, "Tell me, queen's bed, whose wife is Chandrakala now? The one with the torso of the merchant's son Chandrapal, or the one with his head?" The queen's bed said, "Maharaj, I do not have so much brain that I keep lying here on one side. The queen never covers me, nor spreads me. Dust remains on me." Hearing this, the queen said in anger, "O bed, how dare you? I cover you properly every day, spread a new sheet on you every day. You never talk to me, and you always speak ill of me with the foreigners. Let the morning come. If you are not made to face 18 pieces, then tell me." Then the queen said to King Vikramaditya, "I have heard a lot about your justice. You tell me, whose Chandrakala is this?" Then King Vikramaditya said, "O queen, Chandrakala is her husband's brother's." As soon as the queen said this, King Vikramaditya said, "Beat the drum of the Doliya, queens say it once." The doll player beat the drum fast on the doll. On hearing the sound of the drum, the queen's prisoners in the jail also became happy. They started whispering among themselves, "It seems that some noble man of the master has come, who is called Queen Abold 4 times and released us also from this imprisonment. The queen's bed has made us spend 1 hour of the night. Now you also say something. This night will not pass like this." Then the brave man lying on the queen's matka said, "Maharaj, do I have enough intelligence to tell you something? Yes, if you say something, I will surely roar." Then King Vikramaditya said, "If that is the case, then listen." The king and the moneylender's son, who used to play together in childhood, were very good friends. At a young age, both of them made a promise to each other. The one who gets married first will send his wife to the other on the very first night. Time passed. The matter also became old. Both became young. The moneylender got his son Madhav married to a beautiful girl. After some time, her husband Madhav also became a daughter. He came into the room with a sad face and sat quietly. Seeing her husband with such a sad face, Mohini understood that there must be something wrong. She said, "What is the matter, dear? Are you angry with me? Do you not like me?" Madhav said, "No, dear, there is nothing like that." Mohini said, "Then what is the matter? Did my family make some mistake in the transaction? Or did they not treat your family well?" Madhav said, No, that is not the case either." Newly married Mohini said, "Then what is the matter that you are hesitating to tell me? I have married you. I am your better half, your happiness. Sorrow is now mine too. So you can tell me what is in your mind." Hesitating, Madhav said softly, "In the innocence of childhood, I had given a promise to my friend Prince Harshavardhan, which I can neither break nor keep." Mohini said, "What kind of promise have you given? You can tell me." Madhav said that the promise is something that I am hesitant to tell you. Whatever the promise is, you should tell me without hesitation. I will also support you in fulfilling your promise. Even if I have to give my life for this, I will do it happily. Madhav said that both of us friends had promised each other that whoever gets married first will send his wife to his friend on his wedding night. Now if I break my promise, then I will betray my friend, and if I keep it, then your honor will be lost. I have promised you to save the one whom I promised. Mohini thought for some time after listening to everything. Then she said, "Oh dear friend, don't worry about anything. You just give me permission. I will keep your promise and also save my religion." Madhav's mind was relieved by his wife Mohini's words. He gave Mohini permission to go to Prince Harshavardhan. Mohini started walking towards the palace of Prince Harshavardhan, adorned with 16 ornaments and playing sparkling anklets. Some thieves were waiting on the way. When they saw a woman laden with jewelry coming, their eyes lit up. They stopped Mohini with the intention of looting and threatened her, saying, "Quietly take off all your jewelry and give it to us. Otherwise we will kill you and take all the jewelry." Mohini said, leaving her hand, "Please leave me now. I am going for some very important work, for which it is very important to have these jewelry on my body. I promise when I return, you yourself will come back." Mohini soon climbed the stairs of the palace of Prince Harshavardhan and reached in front of his door. When Mohini was going to another man's room on her first night, the only thing going on in her mind was to somehow maintain her husband's honor and her own dignity. Climbing the stairs of Harshavardhan's palace, she reached his room. Prince Harshavardhan was fast asleep on his bed in his room. Mohini twisted his thumb and woke him up and said, "Wake up, Kamvarsa, wake up." Prince Harshavardhan sat up startled. He saw 16 beautiful women standing in front of him. He was shocked to see a beautiful woman, all decked up and looking like an apsara. Felt as if he was seeing a dream. He rubbed his eyes again and saw that this was not a dream but reality. A beautiful woman was standing in front of him. He asked very politely, "Oh goddess, who are you and where have you come from? What is your purpose of coming to my bedroom at this time of the night?" Then Mohini said, "I am Mohini, the newly married wife of your friend Madhav, and I have come to fulfill his promise." Harshavardhan said, "Promise? What kind of promise?" Mohini said, "It was decided between you and your friend in childhood that the one who gets married first will send his wife to his friend on the wedding night. Just to fulfill that promise, I have come here to you with the permission of your friend Madhav." Hearing all this, Prince Harshavardhan was completely stunned for a moment. When he thought about it, he felt very embarrassed remembering everything. He said, "Oh goddess, forgive me," leaving his hands. "We had promised each other in our innocence. This was not a promise, but our childhood innocence. My friend's wife is my sister-in-law, and sister-in-law is like a mother or sister. I am very ashamed of my childhood innocence. From today onwards, I make you my religious sister." Saying this, Prince Harshavardhan gave Mohini a dupatta and a plate full of diamonds and pearls and sent her off. Mohini started walking back towards her house. The same thieves were waiting for her on the way. They stopped on hearing the sound of her anklets. They wondered if she had brought soldiers with her. When they were convinced that she was alone, they discussed among themselves and said, "Oh brother, this woman is really true to her word." Meanwhile, Mohini reached them. She gave them the plate full of diamonds and pearls given by Prince Harshavardhan and said, "Keep this too. This was also in your fate. Wait, I will take off all my jewelry and give it to you." Saying this, she started taking off her jewelry. The thieves were astonished. They stopped her and said, "Jada Ruko, first you tell us where you went, and where did you get this plate full of diamonds and pearls?" Then Mohini told them her whole story in detail. After listening to everything, the thieves folded their hands and said, "Oh goddess, you are blessed that without worrying about your shame, you took such a big step to save your husband's honor. We also want to make a woman of character like you our sister. Will you do me the honor of accepting sinners like us as your brothers?" On getting Mohini's approval, the thieves returned the plate full of diamonds and jewels to her, along with the looted money, and respectfully took her to her home. After saying this story, King Vikramaditya said to the queen's pot, "Tell me whose sacrifice is greater, the thieves, or Prince Harshavardhan's? The warrior placed on the pot said, Maharaj, I do not have enough intelligence to tell you whose sacrifice is greater or smaller. I am just an ordinary pot which lies in a corner. Neither does anyone drink water from me, nor does anyone clean it, nor does anyone change my water. So Maharaj, please forgive me. I will not be able to solve this first problem of yours. Hearing the words of the pot, the queen got irritated with the silence and said, O pot, how dare I clean you every day, change your water every day. You never talk to me and you speak ill of me along with the foreigners. The queen said to King Vikramaditya, I have heard a lot about your justice. You tell me whose sacrifice is greater. Vikramaditya said, O queen, Prince Harshavardhan was the son of a king. He had no dearth of anything, neither money nor women. How will giving a plate of food reduce his goodness? But the thieves not only let Mohini go without looting her, but also gave her all their looted wealth. So the sacrifice of the thieves was greater than that of Prince Harshavardhan. Completely agreeing with King Vikramaditya, the queen once again sat down with alertness. King Vikramaditya said smilingly, O Doliya, beat the drum. The queen said, Now beat the drum for the second time. The drummer beat the drum fast and heard the sound of the drum for the second time in the second quarter of the night. The happiness of the queen's prisoners in the jail knew no bounds. They were sure that the nobleman sitting in front of the queen this time will call the queen 4 times, and we will also be released from our imprisonment. King Vikramaditya said to the warrior sitting on the queen's window, O queen's window, the queen's bed and the bed have made us spend 2 hours of the night. Now you also say something, this night will not pass like this. Then the warrior sitting on the queen's window said, Maharaj, I have so much intelligence that I can say something to you. Yes, if you say something, I will definitely roar. Then King Vikramaditya said, If that is the case, then listen. A Thakur and a moneylender's son had a strong saw. Both of them were together since childhood. Both of them were married in childhood, but the wives of both were in their maternal homes. When they grew up, both of them left together to bring their wives. The moneylender's son Gangadhar also took his barber with him. After walking for a long distance, they reached a place from where the routes to their in-laws' place were different. Gangadhar, the son of the moneylender, and Vishnudat, the son of the Thakur, said to each other, whoever reached there first would wait for the other. Saying this, both the friends bid farewell to each other. After some time, Gangadhar reached his in-laws' place with his barber. When the in-laws saw the barber along with the son-in-law, an old woman advised the others to take good care of this barber as well. When he goes to his village, he will praise us, and our daughter's respect will increase. With this thought in mind, they took better care of the barber's son than their own son-in-law, whether it was feeding the child or making the bed or installing the fan. Everywhere, they asked about the barber's son first. This thing annoyed Gangadhar. He felt his dominance was diminishing, so he hurried to go home. After 2-3 days of respect, her in-laws gave them a horse carriage and sent their daughter Ambika off with them. On the way, the barber was praising Gangadhar's in-laws and saying that his in-laws took more care of him than their son-in-law. The barber's words added fuel to the fire. He was already angry. His words made him even more angry. He left his wife and the barber on the road, and he himself left for his home alone. His newly married wife Ambika kept looking at him as if she was cheated. After Gangadhar left, the barber also took the opportunity and headed towards his village. It was as if a mountain of sorrows fell on the newly married Ambika. With a sad heart, she mustered up the courage to go back home and turned the horse carriage towards home. But destiny had something else in store. She lost her way and reached some other city. As soon as she entered the city, there was a gardener's house. Ambika gave him some money and convinced him to stay with her for a few days. Ambika went to the village with the gardener. The king of that place was making a garland with the help of a gardener. I, Ambika, tell me not to weave a garland with this 1-month-old garland. Otherwise I will go to hell. After that, the gardener would take me to the royal palace. One day, the king asked the gardener, that these days you keep making bouquets and garlands of very beautiful and attractive craftsmanship. You cannot do such beautiful craftsmanship. Then who makes these bouquets and garlands? The gardener said, "Maharaj, a girl has come and stayed at my house for a few days. She is very beautiful and beautiful. She is very talented. She makes such beautiful bouquets and garlands every day." Hearing the gardener's words, the king thought in his mind, "The one who makes such beautiful garlands and bouquets, how beautiful she herself would be." As soon as this thought came to his mind, a lustful feeling arose in him. The 50-year-old king, filled with lust, said to the gardener, "You go to your house right now and present that ironing machine in front of me." The gardener went to Ambika and told her the order of King Banu Pratap. Ambika refused, saying that what work do I have with the king? But the gardener could not ignore the king's orders. She took Ambika to the palace after listening to him and pleading. When the king saw Ambika's beauty and looks, he was fascinated by her. None of his queens was so beautiful and talented. He immediately ordered to send Ambika to the palace. Ambika requested the king and said, "O king, you are the owner of this city, so you are like my father. Then how can you keep me in your palace?" King Banu Pratap said, "You are not from our city, so we cannot be your father. You will have to live in our palace." When King Banu Pratap did not agree even after a lot of persuasion, then Ambika said, "Maharaj, I am a married woman. My husband abandoned me. You will also commit a sin by living with a married woman. Please give me 6 months of time. If in the meantime my husband does not come to take me, then I will consider myself unmarried and will come to your palace." Hearing this, the king gave her 6 months of time, but kept her under house arrest in a secluded palace outside the city. Ambika used to keep an eye on the road from the palace door every day, so that if by mistake someone from her mother's or in-law's house came to Usar, she could send a message about her condition with him. On the other hand, Thakur Vishnudatta was waiting for his friend at the fixed place with his wife. When Gangadhar reached there alone after abandoning his wife, Vishnudatta said on seeing him coming alone, "Oh friend, what a fool you are, alone." Then Gangadhar told him the whole incident. On hearing everything, Vishnudatta angrily rebuked him and said, "Shame on you, friend. You punished your innocent wife for someone else's crime. If her family members did more for your barber than you, then what was the fault of Bobby in this? Does anyone leave his wife for such a small thing? We should go back now and bring Bobby." Gangadhar agreed with Vishnudatta. Vishnudatta made his wife stay in a nearby village and himself set out with Gangadhar to bring his wife Ambika. When Gangadhar inquired from people at his in-laws' place, he came to know that his wife had not reached her mother's place. Instead of going to her in-laws' place, he saw a big piece of wood lying nearby and thought, why not do something artistic? Sleep will also go away. He took out his tools and started decorating that big piece of wood. By the end of the first quarter of the night, he carved a beautiful wooden doll from that piece of wood, made it stand and woke up the tailor's son and went to sleep himself. When the tailor's son sat down and started guarding, then he felt that someone was standing in front of him. He went closer and saw that it was a carved doll. Seeing the doll, he said to himself, "What a wonderful workmanship the accountant's son has done, but I am no less than anyone." He also took out clothes and needle and thread from his belongings and started working. By the end of the second quarter of the night, he made a beautiful costume and made that woman's doll wear that dress and bangles. Now it was the turn of the goldsmith's son to guard, so he woke him up and went to sleep. To wake up from his sleep, the goldsmith washed his face with cold water and sat down to keep watch. Then his eyes fell on the woman standing in front of him, and he was stunned. He wondered where did the woman come from in the jungle at such a late hour. He called out to her but got no reply. Out of curiosity, he got up and went near her and saw she was not a woman but a mannequin. It did not take long for the goldsmith to understand that she was the work of the tailor and the tailor. He said to himself, "I am no less than anyone." He also took out his weapons and started working on the mannequin. He also got into thinking, where did this woman come from in this jungle at such a late hour? He also went near the mannequin in the form of an iron and started looking at her. It did not take him long to understand everything. He said to himself, "Wow, what a wonderful craftsmanship you all have done. It seems everyone wants to test me together." He also took out his Tantra Mantra equipment, and by the end of the fourth quarter of the night, he gave life to the mannequin by cutting it with his Tantra Mantra knowledge. That doll had now become a beautiful young woman. By then it was morning. The other three friends also woke up. Seeing such a beautiful young woman in front of them, when they asked the Brahmin about her, he told them the whole story and said, "I have given life to this doll with the power of my mantras. So now I will make her my wife." Then the tailor's son said, "No, friend, I have made her, so I have a right over her. She will become my wife." The tailor also intervened and said, "I have stitched and dressed her in such beautiful clothes, so I have a right over her." The goldsmith's son said that how is this possible? "I have made beautiful ornaments for her and made her wear them, so she will become my wife." All the four men started quarreling for the beautiful woman. After telling this much story, King Vikramaditya said to the necklace, "Tell me, brother, who has the most right on that iron of the queen." The brave man sitting on the queen's necklace said, "Maharaja, I am just a worthless necklace of the queen, which the queen wears if she wishes to, otherwise she throws it away. I do not have enough intelligence to tell you who has more right on that girl." Queen Abold got very angry after listening to the brave man sitting on the necklace, but she swallowed her anger and did not say anything. When Vikramaditya saw that the queen did not say anything in the 4th quarter of the night, there is only a little time left for it to end. Thinking for a while, he said, "Listen, the Brahmin boy has the most right on that girl in the queen's necklace. He brought the doll to life by putting life into it." Hearing the king's words, the brave man sitting on the queen's necklace immediately spoke. "What a thing, Rajan! What a wonderful justice you have done! You should be hailed." The brave man sitting on the necklace said, "Say, hail King Vikramaditya." The other three brave men also started hailing King Vikramaditya. "Hail King Vikramaditya! Wow, what a justice you have done." On hearing this, the queen, who was suppressing her anger, burst out and said, "What kind of hailing is there on this wrong judgment? King Vikramaditya, you go around pretending to be a lover of justice. Shame on your such judgment. I don't know how your judgment became famous in this world. This judgment is completely against religion." The queen spoke further. The Brahmin had breathed life into that doll. That is, in a way he gave birth to her. In this way he became her father. So what can be a more vile deed than a father marrying his daughter? According to religion, a woman can only be the wife of the one who makes her wear bangles. And the bangles were made by the tailor, so according to religion that girl became his wife. After listening to all the things said by the queen, King Vikramaditya laughed mischievously and looking at the silent queen said, "Wow, very good queen, you have done absolutely righteous justice. That girl's husband can only be that tailor. And forgive me, queen, you have said it 4 times. So only I can be your husband. Now just get ready to leave." Hearing King Vikramaditya's words, Queen Abold blushed and looked down. King Vikramaditya was right in everything and said, "O Dolia, beat the drum." Queen Abold said for the 4th time. The Dolia raised the drum and beat the drum. As per the Ved, Queen Abold freed all the kings and princes imprisoned by her, giving them back their kingdoms with respect. Queen Abold got married to King Vikramaditya with great pomp and show. When King Vikramaditya reached Ujjain with Queen Abold, his sister-in-law who taunted him also greeted him and said, "I agree, Devreza, you did what you said." Before knowing the conclusion of the story, please tell us how you liked the story by commenting and on which topic you would like to hear the next story. Conclusion: following truth, justice, and religion is most important in life. As the 4 characters act according to their own desires and selfishness, their conflict ultimately reveals their inner sense of right and wrong. King Vikramaditya's love for justice and Queen Abold's unwavering faith in Dharma show that self-sensitivity and prudence are essential to choose the right path. The story also teaches that in any situation, only through honesty, love, and compromise can we make our lives balanced and spiritually complete. God's justice is always right, and to attain spiritual peace, we must purify our actions and thoughts. Thank you all from the bottom of my heart for staying connected with the story till the end.